Jain students, welcome to all of you once again. Today we will proceed in the story from where we had left yesterday. As we had seen in previous paragraphs that Charlie, the narrator, who was already late in his office and now he wants to reach at his home to his wife Louisa as earlier as possible. So that's why instead of taking bus, that he was in search of getting train from the Grand Central Station. And while he was searching for the suitable train to reach to his home as earlier as possible, he searched the third level. So how he searched the third level, we are going to study today. So let me share first the story with you on your screen. Here it is. Now see the student, just let us take two lines before that. Once I got into a tunnel about a mile long and came out in the lobby of the Roosevelt Hotel. Another time I came up in an office building on a 46th Street, 3 blocks away. Means whenever, means it, he is talking about its exit of the Grand Central Station. And whenever, because he had been there for hundred of times, in and out for hundred of times, still it was quite confusing for him. Whenever he tries to come out from it, then its outlet, its exit was quite different. He comes out in a different way. Still he was searching for suitable label from where that he could get his train. He moved forward, but what happened, let us know. Sometimes I think Grand Central is growing like a tree, pushing out new corridors and staircases like roots. Now he is telling here that sometimes he thinks that Grand Central Station is growing like a tree. Why he is saying that this statement is important? Why he is saying that it is, Grand Central is like a growing tree? Because that pushing out new corridors, there are so many corridors, and it seems that there are, means every time when he tries to come out from it, he finds a new corridors, new staircases. So different corridors, different staircases he gets, and when he comes out in a different place. And that's why he is thinking that the Grand Central is growing like a tree. There is probably a long tunnel, and now he further describes that there is probably a long tunnel means that underground passage. So he says that there is probably he guesses that probably there is long tunnel that nobody knows about feeling its way under the city right now, and it goes from under the city. And he says that probably nobody knows about it, about this tunnel, about this underground passage. And on its way to Times Square, and maybe another to Central Park. And he says that that tunnel, that underground passage, maybe it's a way under the city right now, and on its way to Times Square, means sometimes goes to the Times Square, that is a famous place in New York, and sometime maybe another to Central Park. And maybe because for so many people through the years, Grand Central has been an exit. And he also says that it may be for not only for him, rather it may be for many people, that Grand Central station has been an exit, means a way of escape. And maybe that's how the tunnel I got into. And that's why he says that it was not only first time happened with him, that it may be that way, it may be a way of exit, to escape from to escape for many people before him. And maybe that's how the tunnel I got into. And that's why means that many people have already gone that, but this time that it was he that who had got into that uh, tunnel, that underground passage. But I never told my psychiatrist friend about that idea. But means how he searched that the tunnel, he never discussed with his psychiatrist friend about this tunnel, about this underground passage. The corridor the corridor I was in began angling left and slanting downward, and I thought that was wrong. Now that he is describing that how he was able to get to the third level, and he says that the corridor I I was in began turning left and slanting downwards, and started sloping downwards, started going downward. And I thought that was wrong, and he thought that he was going in a wrong way. But while he was coming down from the second level, that he thought that he was going um, in a wrong direction. But I kept on walking, but he did not stop, rather that he kept on walking. And all I could hear was the empty sound of my own footsteps, and I didn't pass a soul. Pass a soul means he didn't pass a soul of a person. And then he says that all I could hear while he was passing through the tunnel, that he could hear was the empty sound of my own footsteps. He could hear because there was a complete silence mm, in the tunnel, and he could hear only his own footsteps. And I didn't pass a soul, because he says that he didn't, means narrator says that he didn't pass a soul, means nobody else was there, means he was alone going through the tunnel. And then I heard that sort of hollow roar ahead, that means open space and people talking. And he kept on moving alone. And then after sometimes, then he heard that a sort of hollow roar, means there was some noise ahead. And that means open space. It means that he understood that there must be some open space there, and where that people are gathered and they are talking, and people talking. The tunnel turned sharp left, and from there the tunnel, the underground passage, turned uh, towards left. And I went down a short flight of stairs, and then once again from there he went down, he uh, came down a short flight of stairs, means some steps of the stairs, and came out on the third level. In this way that he was able to come out on the third level, on the third floor. In this way that he was able to come out on the third floor at Grand Central Station. And remember students, if you will have to describe that how he got into the third level, which was non-existing, which was not existed there, because there were so many proofs, means all the people, even that presidents of the railroads, means everyone was telling that there were only uh, two floors, two levels on the Grand Central Station. But it was the narrator Charlie that who got into the third level. How he got into the third level, then you will have to describe all this. And now let us see that what happened then when he got the third level, third floor. The tunnel turned sharp left. I went down a short flight of stairs and came out on the third level. In this way, he was able to come out on the third level at Grand Central Station. For just a moment, I thought I was back on the second level. For a while, for a moment, he thought that he was back on the second level, but I saw the room was smaller. But when he looked around, he noticed that the room which was there, it was smaller than the other floor of the Grand Central Station. There were fewer ticket windows and train gates and less number of, and there at the third floor, at the third level, that there were less ticket windows, less number of ticket windows and train gates, and the information booth in the center was wood and old looking. And also there was another thing that he found there, which was quite different from the first and second level, that the information booth, there was an information booth in the center, and it was made of wood. It was not like modern building, the concrete building, that fancy building. It was made of uh, wood and old looking, and it had a old looking, means it was old fashioned, means when the rooms were made of wood in olden times, it was like that. Means whatever he noticed on the third level, the rooms and the ticket windows, gates, they were quite different from the first and second level. Means that when we talk about the intersection of time, so time and space, so he was on the third floor, and third floor, the things which were he noticed on the third floor, it was absolutely different from the modern world. And the man in the booth wore a green eyeshadow, and there was a man in the booth, and he was wearing a green eyeshadow, something like spectacles, green spectacles, and long black sleeve protectors, and he was also wearing old fashioned long black sleeve protectors, means coat, that long sleeve coat of old style. The lights were dim, and what else he noticed there, that he also noticed something else, like the lights were dim and sort of flickering, and there were flickering lights, there were dim lights and flickering lights were there. Means it was not like that electric lights in, like, in modern days. And then I saw why they were open flame gas lights, and the open flame gas lights were also there, they were flickering. Means it was, the whole surrounding was absolutely contrasting, absolutely different from the first and second level of the Grand Central Station. Now there were brass spittoons on the floor, and spittoons, brass spittoons means where that people spit. So it was a it was metal spittoons, brass, which is a metal. It was a brass spittoons on the floor kept, and across the station a glint of light, a flickering light caught my eye. And there was also across the station, it was not electric light, rather it was a glint of light, a flickering light was there. A man was pulling a gold watch from his vest pocket, and also there was a man. He also noticed that there was a man that who was taking out a gold watch from his vest pocket. There was a small pocket in the vest, and from his pocket he had taken out gold watch. Generally, what happens that watch are put on the wrist, but in olden days that watch was put on into the vest pocket. So it was a gold watch, and he had kept that in his vest pocket, and he had taken out from it, and he snapped open the cover and glanced at his watch and frowned. And then in order to see the time, he had taken out the gold watch from his pocket and opened its cover and looked at the time, and after that kept it back. That shows that man and the watch, that kind of watch was used in earlier time, almost a century back, in 19th century. And he wore a derby hat, an old style hat he was wearing, a derby hat, and a black 4-button suit with tiny lapels. Means that the suit which he was wearing, it was a black 4-button suit. Means suit was also of olden style, of olden days type. And he had a big black handlebar mustache, and he was also keeping a big mustache, big black handlebar mustache. Means all these things were the symbols of the uh, olden times. Means almost a century back, that people were keeping that kind of watch and wearing that kind of suit, and they were also had the fashion of having long mustache. But in New York, which is one of the most advanced city, and New York in USA, that in 20th century, that he means the narrator Charlie belonged to the 20th century. So in modern days of 20th century, that people were not wearing such kind of, people had become very fancy. They were using fancy things, and these things were the old fashioned things which had been used in 19th century. Means almost a century back from the contemporary time which narrator belonged. And then I looked around and saw that everyone in the station was dressed like 1890 something. And then further he noticed that when he looked around, then he noticed that everyone in the station was dressed, means all the people who were there on the station, they were dressed like 1890 something. They were wearing old fashioned clothes which had been used in 1890, somewhere in 1890, in 19th century, in the end of the 19th century. And I never saw so many beards. And then he thought, the narrator was thinking, that he had never seen so many beards, sideburns, and fancy mustaches in my life. And he had never, because he belonged to the modern world, he belonged to the 20th century, and that people of 20th century, especially in New York City, that they were fashionable people. Means they were not using such kind of things, and that's why that he said that he had never seen so many beards, sideburns and fancy mustaches in his life. And now further he describes that a woman walked in through the train gate. She wore a dress. A woman that who came out from the train, that she was also uh, wearing a dress with leg of mutton sleeves and skirts to the top of her high buttoned shoes. She was wearing a high buttoned shoes, old fashioned shoes, and that the dress, the cloth which she was wearing, it was very long. It was almost touching to the high button shoes. It was almost touching to his to her uh, shoes button. So that was also old fashioned. So back of her, out on the tracks, I caught a glimpse of a locomotive. And not only that, rather when he looked back to the woman, and then he caught a glimpse of, means he found, he looked a locomotive, a very small Courier and Eves locomotive. Means he also see that engine, locomotive, that is the railway engine, that rail engine, and which was a very small, and which was made by the Courier and Eves company, with a funnel shaped stack, with a chimney like, in a chimney like tube like shape. Means the engine, the rail engine, it also belonged to the olden time. Nowadays means modern trains are very fast, they are very fancy, and they were not looking like. Rather that engine also he got, that it was made, it was produced almost a century ago in 19th century. And then I knew, and then he understood that he had crossed the time from 20th century. From his contemporary world, he has reached into the past world in late 19th century. Means in the time of 1894. And he had given so many examples. Means all those things he noticed which were quite different from the contemporary world, from the modern world of his times of 20th century. And that's why that he came to know, he understood that he had escaped from the modern world to the olden world of 1894. And here is also that you can see that there is the intersection of time and space. So here whatever example that we have seen, that tells that there is the intersection of time, from modern world, from the contemporary world of 20th century, he had gone into the 19th century in 1894 times. And the place also quite different. Modern century, in 20th century, that things were quite fashionable, but in through the third level, when he reached into the third level, the things which he looked, that was old fashioned, quite different from the modern world. Now let us see that what happened next. That to make sure, I walked over to a newsboy and glanced at the stack of papers at his feet, and in order to confirm himself whether he had really reached in the time of 1894, then he went he walked over to a newsboy. There was a newsboy who was selling newspapers. So he reached to the newsboy and looked at the stock of the papers. There was a pile of papers. A lot of newspapers were kept uh, there at his feet, and it was the world. It was the world. It was the world. That is the name of the newspaper, and it was the world, and the world hasn't been published for years. And then he saw that the world newspaper was there. The boy was selling, and it had not been published for so many years. Hasn't been published for so many years. And the lead story said something about President Cleveland, who was the president of USA in 1990, in 1894. So, and news means the world, that newspaper was also being published at that time. So it was quite confirmed that the newspaper was belonged to the year 1894, and Cleveland means the lead story was, the main story was about Cleveland, who was the US president in 1894. I have found that front page since in the public library files, and it was printed June 11, 1894. And now he says that how he confirmed it, that he was in the past days, he had through the third level, he had reached to the days of a century back in 1894, because the newspaper was there. The story was about President Cleveland, and when he searched out in the public library that newspaper, then he found the date. It was printed on June 11, 1894. Now it was quite confirmed that through the third level he had escaped from the past world, from the present world to the past world of 1894, from the present world of 20th century into the past world of 1894. And I think that's all for today, students. Just you keep on studying, you revise all these things, and then we can also see the question that would Charlie ever go back to the ticket counter on the third level to buy tickets to Galesburg for himself and his wife. Still that in later paragraphs we will be able to know the answer of that question. So we can see one more paragraph here, that I turned toward the ticket windows, knowing that here on the third level at Grand Central I could buy tickets that would take Louisa and me anywhere in the United States we wanted to go. And now that he said that he turned toward the ticket windows, and then from there, that when he was confirmed that he was in the past world of 1894, then he went towards the ticket windows, and knowing that here on the third level at Grand Central that I could buy, and that he was confirmed that he could buy the tickets from the ticket windows that would take Louisa and me, means he and him and Louisa, his wife, anywhere in the United States we wanted to go. Means by purchasing the tickets by the train which goes from the third level, from the third floor, that he could visit at any place in United States uh, in 1894. A century back times, he could visit at any place by purchasing the ticket from the ticket window. And in the year 1894, and I wanted two tickets to Galesburg, Illinois, and that's why that he went there to the ticket window to purchase, to buy two tickets to go to Galesburg, Illinois, the place which belonged to the to the year 1894. And that's all for today, students. And remaining part of the story we will study in our next class, since time is about to be over. So thanks to all of you for today, and have a good day to all of you.